The summer solstice energy is such a potent catalyst for celebrating nature in its fullest peak. And this is a reflection of what we as humans are going through in our physical bodies as well. My name is Carolyn Marie Yakopich. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please remember to subscribe for more content like this. I am so blown away right now by the emphasis of energy and by the magnitude of transformation that is happening both internally and on the planet. And although it may look like chaos, looking outside and seeing what is happening on the world stage, it really is a deconstruction of the old paradigm. And I'm sure you've heard this again and again, because this is what is required in order for us to birth back into the true nature of who we are, to deprogram, to release, to let go. There has been a massive wave that has come in as an exit point for people to leave the planet. And so in my own realm of the women that I'm working with, family members, there's been so much happening where people are either exiting, have exited, or are preparing to exit the planet at this time. And I really feel like the solstice energy has a lot to do with this massive wave of transition, of people leaving. And there is this aspect, and this is going to come into another video 100%, because my journey with death, both in my own personal life and with those around me, is something that started at a very young age. And I've had so many encounters around death itself, the spirit realm, connecting in with those on the other side. And there is a message in this. So as this exit point, without getting too far into this, the message is this is a reflection of our own death and rebirth cycle. It is a reflection of our own transformation. It is a reflection of us stepping into our next stage of service. And when I say service, it can sound like a very grandiose, big thing. Service means showing up in your highest expression, in awareness, with consciousness, right? Instead of walking around unconscious, defaulting into old programs and patterns, holding ourselves back, going into downward spirals around different emotions that we've been feeling for so many years in our life, right? It's like stepping out of that, and it's letting the sun shine in. It's letting our inner light shine out. And that is what this summer solstice energy is all about. It's the celebration of nature at its peak. It's the celebration of our inner nature in our lightness, right? It's the longest day of the year, shortest night of the year. So I'm sure you've noticed that the days are getting longer and longer and longer. And, sunset where I'm living here in the UK is past 9:30ish, I believe, or in and around that time right now. So these days are really long. And, I'm already seeing the sun starting to rise in and around 4:30. It doesn't exactly rise until closer to 5, but it is like this really expanded amount of light that we are receiving. So because the earth is connected in, and this is the turning of the wheel of the year, as the earth is turning and shifting and changing into this new expression of summer, right? We are being upgraded and impacted in a way where we are being infused with light. Are being infused with solar codes. And, there's been so much solar activity happening over the last few years that it's become more of a common occurrence for us to have the residual effects of being upgraded, right? So our bodies are carbon-based structure. And in our true original form, we are crystalline structure. We are rainbow light bodies. So in order to release what is holding us into that carbon structure, we also simultaneously will be allowing light to come in. So it's happening at the same time. So you're going to have experiences of light coming in, the body being like, whoa, having a memory of what it feels like to be this expansive. And then at the same time, maybe feeling exhausted or depleted, or like, you might need to do some things in order to assist this energy to fully land. Really, it is about creating space. It is always about creating space, holding more space within our own physical body, within our own aura to hold more. So using the techniques that you have in your toolkit, whether it's breath work, whether it's yoga, whether it's ecstatic dance, whether it is walking or sitting in nature, whether it is meditating, whether it's painting, whatever it is, right? Utilizing the tools you have. And if you don't have tools and you would like some tools, reach out, comment below, and I offer sessions where I can connect with you and give you a practice for you to start to further develop your intuitive gifts, your abilities, and open into this expansion of more light being anchored into your own physical body. I also have many YouTube videos here, so you can check out all the YouTube videos with different meditations and such. So really, when we look at this, it is about creating that space. It is about opening to the change, opening to the transition, opening to the death of the old self and the rebirth of the new self. And the other message that was coming through around these exits, around the transition of loved ones and friends and family and people within our inner circle and our sphere, or people that we see on social media sharing about loved ones passing, because we're empathic and we feel that when we see it. The other message coming through is the reminder that we get to choose. And we know when it's time, when we're finished and completed our cycle here on earth, we leave. And sometimes it's like in a way that people would say, I've heard before, like, oh, there can't be a God. That child just passed away at this age. Or there, like God would never do something like this. Or, seeing the suffering and the negativity in a situation. And yes, of course, the human emotion, I'm not spiritual bypassing the fact that there is going to be emotions and grief and heaviness when a loved one passes away. And especially when it's unexpected, that's a whole other aspect that starts to feel like it brings up all these other emotions of the unknown. What I know through this message that's coming through so strongly from Spirit is that they want us to know that even when someone passes, it is as much for their journey as it is for ours. So it is serving a place for us to step into the next version of who we are, step into the next expansion of who we are, because we know our loved ones are there cheering us on. Once they cross over, once they are in their other uniform, right? In their coming back into their spirit, into their light physicality, non-physicality, excuse me. When they come back into this formless, they are guiding us from the other side. They are there. And if we are dwelling in the sadness, in the grief, and holding ourselves back because of clinging to those memories, clinging to what was, clinging to wanting more time, we are holding ourselves back. So all of this is a reflection for us in our own death and rebirth cycle, our own inner transformation. So if you are experiencing a loss, of course, the ebb and flow of grief will happen. It will happen in waves, and it is okay. We are meant to feel our feelings. We are not meant to get stuck in them. I've had this situation happen more than once, where we may get stuck in an emotion, and it's not necessarily stuck. It's just the amount of that repressed emotion that has been stored in the body starts to come up through a situation. So say we have experienced death of loved ones, of friends, or grief of aspects of ourself without even knowing that that's what's happening. And we've just stuffed that emotion down. And we don't feel, and we don't feel, and we don't feel, and we don't allow ourselves to feel. And then it's just all repressed emotion, and it's stored in the physical body in our lower centers, right? Below the heart, it's like holding this weighted, heavy, heavy emotion, right? That starts to manifest in different ways in our life. So imagine having a situation, someone very close to you passing, and suddenly you are ready. You are ready to experience the grief. You are ready to feel the grief. You are ready to release the grief. You are ready to allow yourself to move into that emotion. And so what happens is it's not only the grief of that loved one, it is the grief from all of those moments in time that you did not allow yourself to fully feel. So now it's all coming up. It's all coming up at once. And what could happen, what I was about to say, is that this has happened to me more than once. And it doesn't have to be, let me just make it clear, only around grief. It could be around sadness. It could be around anger. It could be around frustration. So many different emotions, right? It could be around a lot of different aspects. So when we're ready and then we have this feeling and it comes up and it's all the layers of this emotion coming up, sometimes we experience it and it feels like we're stuck because there's so much releasing. So it might be a whole day of grieving. It might be a whole week of grieving, and allowing all of that to release, right? And to know that we will never be stuck in the same emotion unless we choose to stay in that emotion. And we could be choosing, of course, most of the time when it does happen in this way and we get stuck, we're choosing unconsciously. So with our awareness, with this consciousness that we are expanding into, this deeper awareness of our day-to-day life, of our emotions, of our feelings, we can witness, we can separate ourselves from whatever we are feeling, even if it's momentarily in the experience of it, and remind ourselves that this isn't forever. This isn't forever, right? So knowing that even the other message coming through with these aspects, when it's these longer experiences of an emotion that feels less than favorable, that doesn't feel comfortable, right? When we're having these experiences, they are mini dark nights of the soul. They are these experiences of the darkness shedding, of the layers of our shadow shedding, and also the wisdom being integrated from our shadow and expanding into our light. And the more that we can release these emotions, these feelings, these experiences, the more we transform that density, that emotion into energy. Right? Emotion is energy. So once it starts moving from that stored state, it starts moving and circulating through the body. And as we can raise this energy up into the higher brain centers, it activates the crystalline structures. It opens and expands our aura, and our aura gets bigger. When our aura gets bigger and wider and expansive, we become more magnetic. We become more resilient. We become more vital. So we are receiving the benefits by going through these situations, through these experiences. So to wrap it back in, right? Bring it back into this summer solstice. All of this is happening all at the same time, right? We've got these experiences of the death and the rebirth. It's really a big time of feeling that expansion. And it sometimes can feel like you're in the cocoon, but you're not in the cocoon. It's like you're in between both worlds and you're having this experience. You're seeing the parts of yourself from the past as they're shedding, and you're also glimpsing into the future. The more awareness you have, the more you will experience it in this way. And it's not linear by any means. Our growth is this spiral, this evolution that we are moving upward, right? If we are stuck, we are in this horizontal plane, and it does become linear because we're repeating the same thing again and again. And by experiencing emotions from our past and staying stuck in them unconsciously, we keep recreating the same future based on our past. So we stay on this stagnant line. So the invitation is really to bring your awareness into your day-to-day life, to bring your awareness into what you're feeling, to allow yourself to have the feelings, to experience the feelings so that they can transform into energy and to open yourself into new realms and new ways of being. So summer solstice is here. We're just less than two days, so less than 48 hours away from that peak moment of the summer solstice. And it's time to really celebrate. It's time to celebrate the peak of our energy. It's time to celebrate the peak of nature, the peak of the Earth's cycles, where everything is at its full vitality and full expansion and full expression point. And when we can really tap into that knowingness and honor it, celebrate it with ritual, with reverence, we really can tune in to our own highest expression and come into the space of being that, living that, and honoring that. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a happy and wondrous summer solstice. I hope you celebrate well, and I look forward to see you again very soon.